Brother, are you all right?
No, I am not all right. I just shared a bottle of Kanar with Damar. That rhymes.
You're drunk.
Of course I'm drunk.
I think the best way to describe it is that character was wonderfully simple, yet artfully done. And with that, good evening, everybody. We are here. We are a little short-staffed, but, things come up. Shit happens. So is life. And not everyone has the skill to deal with trying to meld Cardassian and Starfleet technology, but if there's one thing that we've learned, the proper amount and properly placed percussive maintenance can do wonders. And for those who don't know, yes, we actually this past Thursday started watching Deep Space Nine on the Discord server Thursday nights. And in the first episode, the two-parter, Emissary, Chief O'Brien demonstrated this to wonderful effect. Yeah, there's actually... Well, the Kai actually... The position of the Kai got introduced and it had its relevance throughout, but Opaka didn't last as long as Kai Wynn, sadly. But that was a character... Kai Wynn was a character that was actually well utilized for the position that she was in and the effect on the overall story that was taking place. But there's one character, excuse me, that I think we should have gotten to see more of, but they were not in that first episode. Alright, they can only hear me? What the hell? Probably...
They didn't hear my wonderful voice.
Well, if you want to go that far, but yeah, so apparently OBS decided to switch to one of the voice meter inputs on its own instead of utilizing the speaker input. Wow, yeah, screw you too, OBS.
Did you have a Windows update recently?
Earlier this week.
Did you check your settings before you got into doing everything?
I looked. That was one that I honestly forgot to check.
Don't worry, it happens to the best of us, including me.
I still blame OBS.
No, blame Windows. It's all Windows' fault.
Tomato, tomato, but that works too. This is one of those moments I should probably go ahead and remember to start recording this at the same time I'm streaming it, just for... Well, but
that reason?
Yeah, but then again, if it wasn't picking up and transmitting out, recording it wouldn't have made any damn difference.
Probably not.
So, anyways, welcome, Foehammer. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing fan-fucking-tastic.
Are you ready to follow us along to the second shap?
I hope so.
Which, you know what? There is one person's reaction to everything that I have to point out, because I posted this and titled it in an appropriate manner. Given the topic, we're just doing an overall general discussion of Deep Space Nine because, well, when you need a place for a good pilgrimage, I will say that you're probably better off and going to be safer if you take your pilgrimage to Bajor instead of the holy high world of Terra.
Oh, yes.
So are you saying Bayshore is better than Earth?
In the
Warhammer
Warhammer
40.
universe, yes.
Oh, in the Warhammer unit. Okay.
Notice I didn't say Earth. I said the holy high world of Terra.
Well, yeah, but Terra isn't the name for Earth, so that's why I made the connection.
Anyways, so I asked one of the now regular panel members who unfortunately can't make it this week what he thought of the thumbnail and title. I like the thumbnail. Fuck that title.
Which is all the more reason to put it in.
I mean, the song. I don't know. I always liked that song because it was catchy. You know what I mean? And it was just a way to, like move along home. I don't know. I must be the only one who actually liked that episode.
Yeah, again, I recognize it was a less than stellar episode offering, but it was still enjoyable. It's one of those things that arguably some of the best quotes come from some of the worst episodes in a franchise that has the longevity of the majority of your Star Trek franchises.
Now, have you watched Deep Space Nine before this?
Before the viewing we're doing now?
Yes.
So right now in the Discord server, this will be my 7th time watching the series completely through.
Okay, so do we talk about episodes that come after? Wait, how many episodes did you watch in this? Okay, there's The Emissary, which is like an hour and a half.
Which is 2 episodes, and then we watched a couple more. Typically, each entertainment night when we're watching a TV series, depending on the length of the episodes, we go anywhere from 3 to 5 episodes. Again, depending on length.
So you watched the episode, where, like what is it, like the second or third episode about Odo?
Well, the one where they tried to frame him for a murder, and it, what was that?
Yes, that one. That every time I watch it, that one always gets me in the sense like how easily discord could be sowed, and how easily mistrust, because it's like he's different from us. He's like, dude, chillax. Okay, you're acting like Cardassians.
Well, are they acting like Cardassians, or are they acting like Romulans, or are they acting like a hybrid between the two? Because that is one thing that you actually have to give Star Trek overall, is they really did put a focus on character archetypes and actually having character-driven stories as opposed to action and technology-driven stories. Yes, technology was a part of it and it was a tool utilized, but they were slightly less MacGuffin-based when it came to the tech, but were more about the character solving the problem and the character getting over and past and confronting something, especially during the run of DS9.
Yeah, it was. I love Odo for reasons that I'll get into later. I don't know, but it's God, that series is always good to watch. Like, it's just. Go ahead.
I would say out of all of the individual series of Star Trek, it's the one that's held up the most.
Yeah,
I know, right? It's a Western in space.
No, that's Star Wars.
Wait, but no. Somebody I don't know whether it was just a fan or or somebody on the staff said DS9 is a Western in space because Odo's the sheriff and like Commander Cisco and Son or new coming into town, they're outsiders. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's what I heard. It's a Western in space.
Google moderator team has posted something that could be blasphemous there, Jared.
I've actually tried to have... So, there is this notion that Deep Space Nine is just a ripoff of Babylon 5. Before I go on my rant about that topic, would anyone else like to chime in?
I'll chime in a little bit. I'm not super... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Jared's going to say everything I'm going to say, so...
I'm not super knowledgeable about Star Trek. I love the show. I love watching it, but I watch it as a casual observer. I haven't really gotten deep into the lore.
Well, this isn't so much lore. This is actually production history that we're getting into on this one. Because, okay, first, Star Trek Deep Space Nine aired before Babylon 5. Deep Space Nine got picked up as a series and a show before Babylon 5. While there is very limited information to go off of when the actual idea for each was actually first formulated, there has not been confirmation that Babylon 5 as a story was pitched to Paramount or CBS or Viacom, whichever name they were going by at the time, as a series, and was rejected only for Deep Space Nine to then be picked up, greenlit, and developed. When you actually look at the production history as documented and confirmed by those who actually established the series of Babylon 5, it was someone else who came to him that said, "Hey, I heard you're working on a sci-fi show. What's the premise?" "Oh, hey, great. I'll help you get the pilot done."
And then stole Babylon. So is it actually the reverse?
No, you can have... So the premises that overlap between the two are basic components of a sci-fi series. It's taking place in space. It has alien worlds. It is based around a space station. Excuse me. And ultimately, they end up having a war with a then unknown enemy. So your basic plot points, yes, they are similar. But get a bunch of writers independently working and tell them, do a sci-fi series or do a sci-fi show, and have it have a political undertone to it throughout the entire of the story, and have an overarching story, not just purely episodic. Like, when you put it into that type of story delivery, which is one of the reasons why DS9 differed and deviated from the rest of Star Trek up to that point. Even Voyager, which aired shortly thereafter, it was no longer based around a ship, it was based around a station. And while it was still episodic in nature, they started filtering in an overarching background story that would come to the forefront later, known as the Dominion War.
Well, I have a quick question. Didn't TNG technically have an overarching story arc?
Not exactly. You had character development that happened across the entire series, which is what Star Trek was really about, was analyzing the human condition in an episodic nature via character development from the eyes of humans looking at other alien species, and vice versa, how other species view humans.
Right, but you could make an argument that the overarching story was, humanity's humanity being on trial.
That was the initial premise that was thrown out there around the character Q. But
Yeah.
if you notice, they technically dropped that until wrapping the series up with wrapping up the series in season 7 and going back to it. But they were doing a lot of homages to the original founding of the series in that 2-parter episode to end it, All Good Things. So it wasn't so much that the story was, that overarching story was there. It's just, this is part of what we're doing with the series. Whereas when you look at Deep Space Nine and you look at Voyager, Voyager is closer to TNG because they were trying to get home. That was their grand overarching story, is we're trying to get home.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's,
whereas Deep Space Nine, you have that, hey, we stumbled upon this. It's initially seen as a religious thing, but it's actually a stable, artificially constructed wormhole to this part of the galaxy. Holy shit, we ran into the leading intergalactic political power there, and they can fuck our shit up. This is going to be bad for us. And what do you know? It ended up being bad for the Federation and the Alpha and Beta Quadrants in general for a while, until they adapted, overcame, and actually turned the tides back the other way to survive. It's actually a pretty good parallel for World War II.
I mean, well, yeah, actually, because okay, what would the Dominion be analogous to? Although I
Axis.
guess fair enough, but I thought the Cardassians were part of the Axis.
Yes. So that's where, when you look at the Dominion, you essentially have 3 factions in there. You have just the Dominion itself. You have the Vorta, you have the Founders, and you have the Jem'Hadar. The Jem'Hadar, and I would say a good comparison for them would have actually been Nazi Germany in how strict and abhorrent they were to get people under their favor and keep them there.
Don't you mean the Founders would be considered, the Germany?
No,
I mean, the Jem'Hadar were the foot soldiers.
No, it's all 3 of them, because keep in mind, in Germany during the lead up to World War II and during World War II, you had the leadership, you had the propaganda ministers who spread the word, your political type officers, like what they actually utilized in Soviet Russia for damn near the entirety of their existence. And then you had the foot soldiers. So you have the Founders, the Vorta, and then the Jem'Hadar, all under that guise. But you can also, with the fanaticism of the Vorta and the Jem'Hadar, you can even mix in and make them a combination of Germany and Japan, because you have that ruthlessness when it comes to battle. Like, the first encounter between the Jem'Hadar warships and a Federation ship, there was a Jem'Hadar ship that was falling apart, that was already going to be destroyed. The Odyssey, the Galaxy-class ship that went over there with them onto the other side of the wormhole, was dead in the water, and yet that doomed Jem'Hadar ship did a kamikaze run just because.
Well, I mean, they are loyal to the Founders, because they're
with a religious fervor, which is actually
no. I know. Like I'm adding to that. Like, see, this is what always fucked me up. What not really fucked me up. Like, I found interesting about DS9. You need. Can you mute? I don't know.
Oh, that was my bad. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Like, this is what I really liked about DS9. The way Let me try again. This is what I really liked about DS9, the way it handled religion. Like, on the one side you have the prophets and the Bajorans. You know what I mean? They have faith in the prophets to protect them. On the other side, you have the founders who manipulated the Vorta and Jem'Hadar to see them as God. So it basically showing you two sides, a good side and a bad side. That's what I.
Yeah, religious fanaticism can be good or bad depending on what it was actually being leveraged for. And I was actually getting to that point there, Google moderator team. When you look at all of it, if you really want to keep with that parallel, the Cardassians were Italy when it came to
Oh,
the
fuck
Axis.
you! I am not Italy. A Cardassian. I mean,
Well, think about it though. The Cardassians ended up being the weak link of that whole allied organization there. Between all those allies, the Cardassians were the weakest. The Cardassians were actually the first ones to give up, too, which is what Italy did.
I mean, again, fuck you.
Hey, can't argue with history when it comes to
No,
that.
I can't. I mean, I can, but I'd be wrong. He's been serving it. Wait, hold on. Ever noticed that? Can you actually zoom in?
Ever notice that they never actually told us how DS9 solved its tribble problem? Then Quark got an idea, an awful, profitable idea. He's been serving what as lunch at the bar?
You know what? That is. I wonder how the fuck they got rid of those. I just assumed. You know what? Put them in an airlock. Kill them all.
And it's
He's not
all
amused by your.
See-
He's not amused by your bullshit. I love that guy.
See, it's funny that you had mentioned before we went on air, oh, you're finally talking about DS9? I guess you forgot where we covered the combination of episodes Trouble with Tribbles and Trial and Tribulations, where I actually named the episode It's All Odo's Fault.
I mean, I guess it is because he's the one who brought the Tribble back, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is. The reason
Okay.
why that episode ends with a triple infestation on DS9 is because Odo pulled an Uhura and thought it was cute and brought it home.
Well, you know what? Screw you, Odo. but no, seriously. And and the best part about the Dominion, they're Odo's people. I fucking love that.
Well, and this just goes to show, just because your lineage comes from assholes doesn't mean you yourself are going to be an asshole. You still have the option to be different.
Exactly, and it fits so well. It's God damn it, I can't fucking speak because I remember how awesome DS9 is. The story is, you know what I mean? But yeah. Good night, everybody. Just kidding. It's a good show. You know, it had a lot of really fucked up episodes, like Duet. You know, before they introduced, she wasn't Kai at the time, but she was just Win.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before that,
she was a Vedic. So she was still playing the political game within the religion, which, no, that can't be an allegory to the early Catholic Church and the way the bishops and cardinal positions were handed out.
No, it can't be. But what I found very interesting about DS9, right, that as soon as the Cardassians, were driven off the planet, old political rivalries started resurfacing. You know what I mean? So the Bajorans were free, but they decided to be assholes towards each other. Yeah, nice going, guys.
They were free to be their own types of assholes instead of having a singular cause to go against, which is actually something that Kira mentioned in the beginning of the Emissary. That for a while there, because they were under Cardassian occupation, all of Bajor had a common enemy, the Cardassians. But once the Cardassians left, old factions and rivalries came back around.
No, see, honestly, I honestly think that's more realistic of what would happen in real life if the Earth suddenly united against aliens. Yeah, we would defeat them, but then we would be like, okay, now that that's done, I'm gonna kill you now. But why? We just work together. Well, you know.
Well, again, going with the historic parallel, let's take a look at what happened in formerly occupied countries in Europe after liberation and after the end of World War II. You had people going against their own under the guise of, you are a collaborator, fuck you.
I love this one. By the way, could you repeat that? Because I was looking at this. You were a collaborator. Oh, speaking of collaboration, I really love, like, see, this is why I see the Bajorans as, well, Jews, because because there were some people who collaborated, like, you know what I mean? Like, they had a whole episode about about Bajorans collaborating with the Cardassians. You know what I mean?
Oh God, we got some more.
Hello?
No, I'm not. Like, I can see that parallel. I can definitely see that that comparison being made realistically, because when you look at the situation, it fits.
Yeah, so yeah, the Cardassians can be Italy, but they can also be Germany, and Dukat, even though he had people above him, you could be like, oh, that's Space Hitler as a joke, but
Well,
you know what I mean?
No, see, here's again another episode we did where we actually analyzed the character arc of Dukat under the premise of, was he actually a stupid villain that could not have won? The problem there is the comparison you just made. The real life historical figure actually had a plan, actually had a vision of what it meant to win, and he was actually pretty close to achieving it. Dukat, his version of winning was an unrealistic one, because he even said winning is not just getting your submission from your opponent. It is getting your opponent to realize and come to grips with they were wrong to ever confront you and go against you in the first place.
I mean, that sounds like, what the hell is that?
That is really an unobtainable bar when you think about it, because the only way to do that is outright annihilation. You cannot beat an enemy into submission and get them to have the psychological break to go, well, we were wrong for doing this in the first place. No. The harder you are when trying to subjugate a people like that, the more deep and galvanized their hatred of you back is going to be.
Well, no, like, I agree with you, but also I'm looking at this and really want to read this eventually, but I'll get back to this in a second because it looks nice, because it looks interesting. But when you think about it, there is a way to get an enemy to say, you know what, I was wrong to go against you because you're better than me. You break them psychologically. You know what I mean? You get them to the point where their ego is so broken that they have no choice but to be like, dude, you fucking won. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, they've tried that for how many times, though? Like, how many conflicts have tried to go to that level? Like the whole thing of, we'll bomb them into the Stone Age. Except the people they decided to do that against would be like, hey, upgrade.
Yeah, I get what you're
Robin.
saying. Hold on. Lawful good. Nobody ever had to teach me the justice trick. That's something I've always known. Neutral good. I lived the life you're choosing, fighting, hit and run, always outgunned, used living on hate and adrenaline. It's not much of a life. Chaotic good. I lied, I cheated, I bribed men to cover the crimes of other men. I am an accessory to murder, but the most damning thing of all, I think I can live with it. Lawful neutral. We all heard Major Kira's orders. It would be dishonorable to disobey them. True neutral. Respect is good. Latinum is better. Oh, chaotic neutral. Lately I've noticed that everyone seems to trust me. It's quite unnerving. I'm still trying to get used to it. If you can, scroll down so I can see the other three.
And that is why I love Garrick.
Dude, we could dedicate an entire stream just to Garrick.
Future plans. Don't worry about it.
Okay, lawful good. Sorry, lawful evil. What you can control cannot hurt you. That's arguable. Neutral evil. I will no longer serve gods who give me nothing in return. Chaotic evil. I no longer have a need for conquest or power. I'm far beyond all that. Like, can we just talk about Kai Wen for a minute? Like, I honestly think she's actually she's actually written to be a tragic character. You know what I mean? Because she went through fucking hell at the hands of the Cardassians, and the prophets said, "No, fuck you. You're not gonna get anything."
But who did the prophets actually do anything beneficial for prior to Cisco showing up?
Well, it is stated throughout the series, that in the 10,000 years they sent like 8 orbs randomly, and then if I remember correctly, they saved that old man, that old poet, and brought him to the future. If you remember that, so they do care about Bajor, just oddly.
No, not oddly. Think about it though. What was the largest hurdle in communication that Cisco had with the prophets in the episode The Emissary?
It seems, not thinking about it, it seems like the prophets, prophets had a hard time believing him that that he was linear and he died, if I remember correctly.
No, it wasn't just that. Is they did not have the same concept of time, because for them, being non-corporeal beings, they had no inkling of what a linear time existence was like, and because of that, some of them were rejecting of Cisco off the bat because that's too far-fetched. He must be lying. And the majority of that time he was with them was just getting them to understand that being a corporeal being like he was, you go from moment to moment in one direction. You cannot exist in their realm, in the actual realm that Cisco is from. You cannot go back in time on a whim.
Yeah, but doesn't that kind of contradict the rest of the series then?
No.
I know it's a pilot, but if they had no concept of linear time, how did they even know about Bajor or sent the orbs in the first place?
They knew about the people of Bajor. They cared about the people of Bajor the same way you care about a pet.
Wow.
Yep.
But no, I it's just like I'm trying to, because it's like they said they had no concept of linear time. I'm assuming they didn't even know the universe existed. Maybe I don't know. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, okay, they said we don't believe you with linear time, yet they send out orbs to Bajor in 10,000. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
But again, they cared about the Bajorans. They cared about the world of Bajor to the point of, at least what we're shown in the initial bit, the way you would care about a pet. or any other animal that you want to see how it goes and try to protect it from itself with as little other interference as possible.
Yeah, but
But
go ahead.
the thing that we have to remember, and this is where I don't go with the whole thing of them contradicting it later on, because what ends up happening is the prophets, the wormhole aliens, at the end of that episode, they've reached a pact with Cisco. Cisco is going to be their emissary, and he, at that point, accepts that position as best he can with the limited understanding of it that he had at that point. But what ends up happening is, because of the rest of the events that end up taking place and the way the prophets see time as all-encompassing and how they flit back and forth between what is, what was, and what will be, they end up using Cisco and also the revelation of the machinations that they had that resulted in Cisco even being born to begin with.
Yeah, that was always like
They began to understand humanity and the Bajorans more. Not exactly, but you have that bit of progress. Because what was it that Cisco said that really struck a chord with them in that episode?
I'll be honest, I didn't watch the episode in forever, so I don't remember.
They asked Cisco, "So you value your ignorance and your limitations?" To which Cisco said, "Yes. We are constantly looking to expand our horizons, to expand our knowledge, to learn that which we don't already know. That curiosity is what drives us." Granted, in that episode, you also had arguably the best explanation of the game of baseball that I've ever seen.
I mean, it just goes to show you that one of the writers probably really loved baseball.
Probably.
But then I guess I guess you could say that being a prophet is kind of boring because you see the past, present, and future. You're not really surprised, which then makes you wonder what the fuck are they doing in the wormhole in the first place? Why did they create it? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's interesting. I've always loved the wormhole aliens or the prophets.
Well, keep in mind what we and the humanoid species in the series come to know and call the wormhole really is just an access point to where the prophets are at, the prophets and actually the Paw-wraiths are actually from. You're essentially skipping into another dimension of being.
Sorry, I was just.
Oh wait, there's more.
Oh wait, hang on. Scroll down. That is actually another aspect of Deep Space Nine that I give them credit for, because up until that point, the Ferengi were just a very surface, very superficial understanding of what capitalism could lead to. But in Deep Space Nine, we actually end up getting more of a fleshed out explanation of how their society actually works. And who doesn't want a Moogie like that?
Moog, like they're just another thing I really loved is, like you said, with they fleshed out the Ferengi, right? I don't think they ever mentioned that their home planet in other series, their home planet is just always raining, which makes you wonder, okay, why is the climate static like that in the sense that it's always raining. Don't they have good days? You know what I mean? Like
Ve-
it's
very rare, but it happens.
okay. Yeah, rule 285. No good deed ever goes unpunished. Like I really want to buy the law, the rules of acquisition because they didn't need a moving ship to be a badass. You know what? You're right. Although technically in what was it, season 3, they introduced the Defiant, which is a hell
No,
of a
no,
ship.
no, 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 no. If we're going to get into that, it is not the USS Defiant. It is the USS Pimp Hand.
Wait, why is it what?
That ship is Cisco's Pimp Hand.
Oh, Pimp Hand. Okay. I- yeah. Wow.
He powdered it up and everything.
Uh,
Uh,
I mean, I just want to say that that switching from a starship to a space station raised the stakes a lot more because there were a lot of fucking times when the ship, when the station was under attack, where it was like they're gonna fucking die, they're gonna fucking, you know what I mean? Because it was like, god damn.
well,
Yeah.
I will say that a lot of the perceived threat of losing a character really lost its punch until the end of season 6.
I mean, yeah, that's when they straight up like, nope. But why didn't you? Wow, okay. Why didn't Ducat just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna move you to the side and steal the orb? Why kill her?
It wasn't Ducat at that moment.
Well, the par raves. The par, fair enough.
Yeah.
The par raves.
Yeah, but do you really think the Pirates give a flying fuck about who they do and don't kill?
I mean, they apparently care enough about humanity, or that's the bullshit they sold. They sold Ducat anyway, because if you remember, the prophets were fine and dandy staying inside the wormhole, but the Power Wraith was like, no, 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 no. You know what I mean? We should help the Bajorans and the people of the like, are you nuts? You know what I mean? So I always found that interesting. How the prophets were just fine with sitting back, and the Power Wraiths were wanting to help, but they were portrayed as evil.
Well, for an in-universe parallel, the Prophets were Starfleet with their non-intervention pact. Some would call it the Prime Directive, whereas the Pirates were more like the Klingons. No, 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 fuck you. We're coming in. We're taking over, bitch.
Basically, yeah. But I remember the first time they introduced Power Raves. Poor Coco, like O'Brien has been through hell in that series. Can we agree? Can we agree that every season had an O'Brien episode where he suffered? Jesus. Oh.
Yeah, you have that. You have the jail sentence. You have going undercover to pretty much try to become a part of the Orion Syndicate to rat him out to Starfleet intelligence. You then have the time travel shift one
Yeah.
that was being triggered by a cloaked Romulan warbird around the station. Yeah, every series seems to have one character in particular who has just fucked up shit keep happening to him. In Voyager, it was Harry Kim. In Deep Space Nine, it was O'Brien.
I mean, don't forget Julian too. Julian had a few interesting moments. If you can hear me still.
But not on par with what happened with O'Brien. I mean,
Yeah.
Bashir was captured and imprisoned by the Dominion at one point. At another point, he was also in line to be the physical form for the EMH Mark II. But then other things came to light and put a kibosh on that.
Yep.
But other than that, what was it that happened to him that was really bad?
Well, he was He was genetically altered. Wait, that's good.
Which he made the most of. He did not like that his parents made that decision, but he made the most of it.
Okay. You know what? I don't know. Never mind. You know what? Definitely, O'Brien is the one who suffered the most.
I will say I like O'Brien's character development.
Yeah.
From the Next Generation to Deep Space Nine. The Next Generation, we see him as kind of a pushover character that's just a bean counter. And then in Deep Space Nine, we find out his history. He's actually a super badass in every way imaginable.
Yep.
Well,
and he hates Cardis.
Well, used to. He actually that bit came from TNG because the episode with which was the name of the episode where O'Brien helped go after the Phoenix, the Nebula class that was going after Cardassian ships. And it was O'Brien's former commanding officer that was going vigilante. So that's where you actually start to get into the deeper depths of O'Brien's background, just from that alone. And you start to hear some of those stories from being on the Rutledge during the border war with the Cardassians.
You're talking about DS9 or TNG?
No, that was TNG that episode happened.
Oh wait, hold on. I thought of something, that both Bashir and O'Brien went through. They what was it? They were forced to land on a planet full of Jem'Hadar, and Julian was forced to find a cure.
Well, it was trying to help them find a cure to get them to appease the addiction to Ketracel White.
Yeah, but that's something else interesting. Like, what is it about that one Jem'Hadar that was able to overcome his addiction?
There was some. Well, and that's the thing. There was some genetic quirk with him that allowed him to not actually be addicted to it. And that's what Bashir was trying to find. Now, keep in mind, I would not count that necessarily as something bad against Bashir or something bad that happened to him, because go back and watch the episode. The thing that bothered him most during that episode was Miles, not the Jem'Hadar. He was in his fucking element, being the frontier medicine man trying to solve whatever medical quandary came his way. And he was actually living up to the Hippocratic Oath in that episode, because a medic in the armed forces is supposed to render aid to anyone injured. Anyone. Doesn't matter if they're which side they're on.
Agreed. Can you zoom in, because I'm reading Garrick's smile, but I can't see the bottom text.
When you see it, you should probably start running.
But honestly, he's just a simple tailor. Why would you run?
Oh, if you only knew.
Ben Sisko, Samuel L. Jackson. What's it say?
Samuel L. Jackson on a Star Trek budget.
Basically.
I do kind of have to agree with Rex on one thing. When DS9 went into the mirror universe, it was so much more fleshed out, and some of the characters were allowed to be more
badasses.
I wanted to say outlandish, but definitely more interesting.
I mean, I've always liked Kira's mirror double, because she's like, I don't know, I can't describe her, but she's just, what the fuck?
She's dominating. No, just admit it. It's your inner sub coming out, because she was a dom. That was the whole thing with that character. That character was in charge and knew what she wanted and went for it, but also knew how to
I mean, you
manipulate
say,
situations.
yeah. You say it's my inner sub, but it's more admiration, and wanting to be like that. So fuck you. Good morning. Do you have a moment for my friends and I to share the good news about the founders meeting? Yes, that is the impression I always got. It's just like, 'cause that's basically what they are. You know what I mean?
Well, again, religious zealots. They quite literally had the religious fanaticism bred into them. And what does it say that these beings that they touted as gods that could do anything to bring the species known as the Vorta from just berry munching tree dwellers to sentient enough beings, but still gave them the shittiest fucking eyesight?
I mean, yeah. Honestly, I mean, if I, oh God, I really wish I'd be a Jem'Hadar, but I'd probably be a Wardo. At least I wouldn't be addicted
Well,
to Chicxaroid.
think about it this way: your Wayun 4, I think it was Wayun 4 or 5 said it. Poor eyesight, great hearing.
I mean, fair enough. But the Wardo don't really have any an eye for art. When Dukat was admiring his daughter's artistic works. Wei Yun's like, I don't know. But
Again.
you remember that part.
Again, poor eyesight.
Yeah.
Because how can you recognize something as art and beauty if you can barely see what it is that's in front of you?
Pretty much. Okay, let me see. It was Casual Thursday, and DS9 as Worf always made the most. God damn.
Oh, that must have been a behind the scenes image.
Yeah, I really love the memes.
With the overall characters there, you definitely have to give the production staff credit for how well they ended up utilizing Jeffrey Combs. Pity the Dominion and the Cardassians and Kai Wynn and the rest of the ops crew when she's having a bad day, and Odo when he forgets their anniversary.
Yeah. God damn.
Yeah, that is actually one thing that they did carry over from TNG into DS9 that pretty much stuck throughout. You don't want to piss off a Bajoran woman.
No, you don't.
Because let's think about it. Rolaren could kick your ass. Kira Nerys could kick your ass. And then you had the cadet turned ensign that was on the Enterprise in season 7 that kind of wish she got a better deal, but
what?
Oh my god, Bajoran herbs.
Oh.
kind of like that whole from South Park. They took our jobs.
Huh.
Yeah.
But we could talk about DS9.
Speaking of emissary, though, by the way.
Let's see. My hat's hat is a hat. I believe that renders your argument invalid, Commander.
Yep. Back when Wynn was just a Vedic.
And I hated her already.
Ooh. Astro Rex brings up a good cameo that is slightly recurring character that they used as well. A lot of people actually seem to forget this, but of all people to play side characters and play an alien of the week in Star Trek, Iggy Pop was one of the most frequent.
Who's Iggy Pop again?
Hold on, I'll pull that up in a second. I gotta share this one with you guys, though. We'll have to make sure it's part of the thumbnail in Christmas time there, Jared.
Nice.
I'll get it saved and send over to you.
Yep. Send that
Goddamn.
over.
Oh, you know what? Can we talk about Nog now? Because he went from a one-dimensional,
He was a kid.
Ferengi.
But that is the thing about DS9 is you have character development across the freaking board with your recurring characters. Like Nog, you're introduced to him. He's a punk. He is what you would think of as a typical Ferengi child. But then he actually becomes his own person and actually is fleshed out throughout the series.
Yeah. Oh, Iggy Pop. Okay, Iggy Pop.
Yes, musician turned actor who has been in a number of Star Trek episodes. As a matter of fact, he one of his first appearances in the franchise was in TNG, where there were those fish people that were transported aboard that were in a pretty much a catatonic state. He was one of them.
Yeah, and one of the guys from God, I can think of him right now. Jesus Christ. Aussie band, if I remember correctly, they're from Australia, and or they might be from the UK.
Australia, UK, same thing, really.
No, it's the reason why I'm thinking is because one of them I think moved to the Australia after the fact, or one of them moved to the UK. I don't remember what it is, but he's the guitar player from Stevie Nicks' old band.
Oh,
Yeah.
God damn it, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but I can see.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The tall guitar player.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac. That's who I was thinking of. He's the other one.
Yeah, nothing like a band founded by two married couples who for a while end up swapping partners and then getting pissed at each other for it.
Yep.
Wasn't the 70s and 80s a grand time, everyone? But how's the thing? Getting back on track, surprisingly, you can even end up with a character like Keiko, who is arguably one of the most disliked characters, one of the most disliked side characters, simply because of how she was presented and how damn annoying she was. But even DS9, by the end of it, made her tolerable.
Because it gave her this sense of actual humanity for a change.
I mean, not only that, but they had an episode where they actually, gave Molly a little character development. Usually, she was just, the annoying child that needed to be protected. Like,
to be fair, Molly was like maybe 5 or 6 years old when they got to the station.
Fair enough, but the episode I'm thinking of is Destiny's Child, where she somehow gets stranded in the past, and come to think of it, how the fuck did she survive?
She was thrown back in time through the vortex on that planet. They managed to go through and pull her back, but it was 10 years later in the other time. And so Molly knew enough that she needed to eat and needed to watch out for herself, but she completely lost her sense of self and sense of humanity and was in a purely survival state, a truly base animalistic survival mindset, which is why there were those issues when they got her back and were trying to undo the damage they could as best they can. Ultimately, it didn't really work because and give it to Keiko and Miles for recognizing it and going back. But then what really ended up happening that was both... I'm really torn on the writing on this aspect of it because it was a bit of a MacGuffin, but it was also the best way to wrap up that storyline in an episodic nature where the older Molly goes back, ends up going back only like a day or so after Molly had initially gone back through that portal anyways, and managed to find herself and send her back, essentially sacrificing herself to bring her back in a time where the damage hasn't been done. Oh God, imagine You know what? Maybe that's where they got the idea for Among Us from. And did we have, we never really, but we got kind of an idea of when Bashir was replaced. And the fact that not even Miles picked up on it until the imposter Bashir tried to make the Bajoran sun go nova. That just goes to show who would you rather not face as an enemy in that aspect? An army just complete of the Founders, or Species 8472?
Oof.
It is a tough one, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing. With the founders, you never know you never know who it is, right? With the species, whatever. At least you know what they look like.
No, because 8472 ended up doing the appearance change to where they looked like humans, and they even had a replica of Starfleet Academy at a what seemed to be derelict space station that they were using as a training grounds that Voyager stumbled upon. So, yeah, well, granted, they ended up actually giving the species a name in Star Trek Online, the Undine, but it's still, you have a species that could easily fuck up the Borg that can now change its appearance to look like you. I almost think I would rather go against the Founders.
Well, I mean, the Federation did, in the end, win against the Founders, if I'm remembering correct. So I would rather go up against the Founders, too.
Yeah, they did, but at the same time, the Cardassians, before they aligned themselves with the Dominion, came up with quite a way to flush out imposters, shall we say. They actually managed to rig up a device that created a field to where whatever appearance or state the changeling was in at that time, they were stuck there. And Garrick used it against Odo. And
Also, don't forget that the Starfleet kind of cheated, to defeat the Founders, because hey, you know what? Let's infect Odo and the Founders with a virus that will slowly kill them, because why not? They were willing to commit genocide.
We don't talk about Section 31. Because that's actually how Section 31 truly became canon, is because of Deep Space Nine and that routine and regular reappearances of Sloane and everything surrounding that.
Yeah.
So, while technically it was Starfleet, you have that whole plausible deniability of it was a rogue group within the Federation that did
Oh
it.
no, Jared, Jared. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the U.S. It was the CIA.
No, it wouldn't have been the CIA. It would have just been a group of operatives trained by the CIA.
Well, yeah, basically.
Or it would have been something like freedom fighters trained
Yeah.
by the CIA.
Yeah. So, while I will give Deep Space Nine credit for opening up and actually being willing to take those steps and actually, as Cisco said in season 2, it's easy to be an angel in paradise. But
Wait, was it season 2 or 3? I think it's season 3.
No, it was season 2. It was towards the end of 2 because it was when everything with the Maquis started really taking off. Because keep in mind that carried over from season 2 into season 3.
Right, yeah.
So
right.
it was towards the beginning of the issues with the Maquis, where Cisco said that it's really easy to be an angel in paradise, but out here on the frontiers, out here on the edges. Yeah, that is part of what I enjoyed about Deep Space Nine is you weren't getting the view of the Federation from the comfy parts, from the quote-unquote safe parts of it. You were quite literally in uncharted territory. Oh, God.
You're my friend. I don't like how you said that.
You know, for as much as those two claimed to not like each other, they were each other's best friends in the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
basically.
For that meme, I will take a punishment and have an Alaskan Amber. I will gratefully submit to that punishment.
Oh yes, threaten me with a good
Sam
time.
Adams.
By the way, I'm gonna go. Thanks for having me. This has been fun. All right, aren't you? Yeah, thanks anyway. I mean, not anyway. Wow.
Wow.
Thanks. Jesus, I can't speak. Fuck off.
I can't word right tonight.
Yeah, no, I can't. I'm not even drunk. That's the thing. I'm not even drunk.
Well, that's
I
the
don't drink.
problem.
No, that's not the problem for me.
And drinking would be the solution.
Well,
no.
Well, I don't know. Beer is a solution.
I mean, hold on. What does that say? Someone on Deep Space Nine asks an innocent and genuinely curious question, automatically lies about it.
It's not untrue.
You know what? Anyways, good night.
Later.
Goodbye. Whatever.
You have a good one.
I know the two of us kind of end up dominating the conversation to that point, but what are your guys' view and take on the series? Be it something just that stuck out to you, good or bad, or anything in between?
There's a anime series. I'm going to relate this back to DS9. And one of the characters brings up a point about warfare. What does it take to end a war? Well, if both sides push for peace and set aside their hatred, no, war is nothing but a means of negotiation between states. There's two ways to end a war. You accomplish your objectives, territory, religious, interests such as resources, ideology, pride. When those objectives are met, the war will end. The other portion of that is a war will end when the human cost outweighs the gains, when it becomes so high that you can't continue to fight. Anger and hatred are only tools to tilt a war in your favor. And Cisco demonstrates that perfectly when he bombs Maquis planets.
I like the touch he did with that, though. Because he not only attacked the entire planet and gave him warning. It was like, all Maquis, you have this much time, and then we're setting off a warhead. But if you notice, the way he did it, he attacked the Maquis planets with a pathogen that made it untenable for humans, but Cardassians could survive it.
That is true.
So he wasn't making the planets completely uninhabitable. He was just taking the chess pieces off of the board for what the Maquis were using them for.
That is very true. But I think that is such a interesting way of dealing with the problem, because you have someone who is willing to take all of the normal Starfleet morals and throw them out the fucking window. And he does so in a way that shows Starfleet as more than just being, lawful good, the goody two shoes of the galaxy. He shows that they're willing to take the gloves off every once in a while.
Yeah. I forget which historical figure it was who said it, but every now and then the Tree of Liberty needs to be fed.
Refreshed with the blood of tyrants.
Yep. Yeah, and that was the thing is, in order to truly be prepared for peace, you must be ready to defend that peace.
That is very true.
Which is oddly a lot like a quote that the first character that Kurtwood Smith played on that actually said. Who knew that Red could end up being the Federation president? Or a leading mind in the study of temporal mechanics.
Well, you do remember, though, he was a red striped chief, if I remember correctly.
The actor himself or the character?
Red, the character. I'll look it up, but I think he was a red striped chief.
I will admit, I did not watch the entirety of that 70s show. I knew he was a veteran and fought in Korea, but that I don't remember Branch or if they mentioned anything else related to it in that aspect.
Oh, one of the first ones I pull up, so you can see. Yep. Hold on, I'll zoom in. We won't be able to tell the rate per se, but you can clearly see 3 service stripes.
And he was still red.
Chief Rocker.
Yeah.
He's my kind of chief.
Yeah. I'm chief with a history.
No wonder he became president.
Granted, we don't know when. Yeah, because if you notice, he didn't even have the Good Conduct Medal. But then again, he could have just been wearing top 3 instead of the full bar.
Yep, that's true.
How many Fed ended up? Some asses to get to the top. Oh, how many feet ended up? Some asses to get to the top? All of them. Oh, God. Oh, God. This one isn't wrong.
No,
unfortunately, you know what? All the Voyager stuff is going to have to wait for a bit because I'm putting it off as long as I fucking can.
Here we go. This one's for VTW preview.
You know what? I don't know if it'll be this weekend, but some weekend coming up, we're going to have to play the only documentary of what it's like to be in the subfleet.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
What have you not seen Down Periscope?
Oh, no, that's actually a fairly good movie.
But it's also a documentary.
It really is. But yeah, I forget where I heard it first, but when it comes to Star Trek series, Deep Space Nine not only has had the most staying power and has held up the most, it is considerably the most mature out of all of them. Not just because of what topics they end up addressing throughout the series, both on the personal front and political fronts, with everything from the recovery from an occupation to an all-out war, and everything in between, but you also have the personal stories that come up, the development and maintaining of relationships, and what someone is and is not willing to do for those relationships crop up throughout there.
Those dynamics are definitely more interesting than a lot of other series have, which endears it to the hearts of everybody who watch it. You have stuff like Stargate SG-1. We see a lot of character development, but we don't see relationships.
Actually, they go out of their way to avoid relationships that are too messy, in a sense. Like, that was one thing with SG-1 that I actually like that they did it, where you get hints of a potential thing between O'Neill and Carter, but because you have that commanding officer subordinate role, they actively are like, no, can't do it. They notice and they acknowledge the temptation's there, but no, we're not crossing that line.
Which is definitely interesting, and it has to be done realistically with that, but because they're portraying the Air Force.
Okay.
There wasn't enough chairs, though. Need more chairs.
Oh, just a few. And real quick, out in the chat, everyone say hello to Undoomed. Hello, good sir. Glad to see you could make it. Yeah.
Definitely a hello to Undoomed. I haven't watched one of his videos in a while. I need to rectify that, but I've been busy binging other things.
I don't think I have any experience watching any of Undoomed's content.
I think you'd enjoy it.
You would enjoy it. But what do you think about this one, Jared?
Apparently, Odo, humans have convinced their children that a morbidly obese senior citizen is able to covertly deliver presents to every single home on their planet in a single night. I was a liar by profession for years, but this kind of obfuscation is beyond even me. Magic. And, well, here's the thing. Do you think they still have their tradition of Santa Claus in the 24th century?
I don't know.
Somehow I doubt it. So have gone out of their way to eliminate religion in the Federation.
Eliminate it or let it die off and let it go through a natural progression.
I would definitely say that they let it go through a natural progression and die off. And we see that happening now to an extent in real life, which is a great parallel for Star Trek. But I also think that they would let other harmless white lies we tell children, Tooth Fairy,
Easter Bunny,
all that stuff, they would let that die off too. They're more about logic and reasoning to push science and technology further down that path.
Yeah,
it would be.
I could
Sorry, go
see
ahead.
I could see holidays going away from a culturally religious foundation to more of a scientific benchmark. Like I could see them celebrating First Contact Day as a thing and not so
Yeah.
much the religious holidays.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Or celebrate when they first discovered the warp drive, which we do see. Um, Cochrane Day, I believe it was, on what
In
series?
Enterprise.
Thank you. And and then they have other holidays like Picard Day, which was an interesting episode. And I would assume it's the same in DS9. I would assume it's the same all over the Federation.
I'm sorry to bring up Voyager again, but this one is just so appropriate.
Personal access to display device. 7. I do not understand, Doctor. These birds do not seem at all angry, and they do not follow an accurate enough parabolic arc for me to extrapolate their intended destination. This game is irrelevant. Oh, you're just saying that because you can't beat my high score. Now, those two right there are the highlight from Voyager. Both of those characters had the most growth and well cared for character progression out of that entire crew.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. 7 of 9 went from an emotionless monster, more or less, to something resembling a human.
And all because Kess wasn't bringing in the viewers that they wanted.
Sex sells.
Oh, especially in the early 2000s and late 90s.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. They didn't have easy access to some of the adult media streaming sites that we do now.
So Morn is an anagram of norm.
I could see the resemblance.
Yeah. That is undeniable. And you know what?
So is DS9 really Cheers in space?
Well, Quark does seem to know everyone's name before they walk through his door.
That's
Either
just
that or
good
accuse-
business.
accuse, unknowing ensigns that they're being racist.
I will give it to Dora and NANA out there. There is... Everyone has their favorite character, even if their favorite character was a horribly written and controlled one.
And only brought in to gain those wonderful, delicious views.
It's still going to do that, right?
Well, now I can see they were trying to balance things out between existing characters that would be coming from the Alpha Quadrant and people that they would pick up along the way. So the addition of Kess and Neelix kind of made sense because they were going to need a bit of guidance throughout their initial travels, especially. It's just...
I found Neelix a horribly annoying character.
Yes.
He has his purposes later on in the later seasons with the kids, but after that, or before that and after that, it was just kind of... Yeah.
Oh, you know what? If Gowron was my lawyer, I would want... Well, no. I almost said that trial by combat should be a thing, but no.
No,
In that case, I would not take Gowron.
I'd take Worf.
I would take Worf's great grandfather.
True. Worf.
Yeah, Worf. Although I don't think they officially named him, but it was Worf. It was a lineage of the House of Moog that was played by Michael Dorn. And if you notice, they actually toned back the cranial ridges. That is actually one thing that I will give Enterprise credit for. The way they handled everything with the visual appearance of the Klingons fit the canon a hell of a lot better than Discovery.
Oh God, we don't.
Anything
talk
fits the
about
canon
Discovery.
better than Discovery. I would even say Picard fits the canon better than Discovery, and that's a stretch.
Oh, that's going into dangerous. Oops, I had another kid. Stretching levels.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, but you're right.
Well, from episode 1 or 2 of Picard, I called it then and there that the series Star Trek Picard was taking place in the same universe as Discovery. And neither one is the actual prime timeline, the prime universe. And there are 2 things that I base that off of. One, the shuttlecraft used as taxis and other public transportation in Picard. Same exact models used in Discovery. Part 2, when Picard walks into Starfleet Command, into Starfleet headquarters and looks up, and it goes from a holographic image of the Enterprise D, the Galaxy class, the way it should be, then it flips to the NCC 1701, and it was the model they used in Discovery.
So, Jared, I sent you something on Discord in the DMs. Directly to you, not the one that's in our logical one.
Yep.
One with logic. Do I share that?
Oh, you know what? Since I know Undoomed is out there watching, yes, I would love to see his reaction to this one.
I had a feeling you were going to say it.
Because apparently there are people out there who don't understand the nuance. So here's the question for everyone. Well, so the premise is, it is not possible to be both a winner and a loser. And Jadzia rightfully asks, what about Joe Biden? And Worf doesn't know how to respond.
Yeah, I think that about sums up the entire meme. It's so, yeah.
What do you say to that one? Because, granted, go back a couple years and change it from Biden to Trump. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Really, this applies to every single president ever elected.
Well, how far back do you want to go with that one?
Lincoln.
Then I will counter with JFK.
He did lose, though, when...
His life, but...
I mean, so he lost. The brain matter in the back of his car would definitely disagree that he did not lose.
You could go. Well, no. Well, no. There is one. There is one other that we could reference, and yes, he did die in office as well, but it was due to natural causes.
Okay.
FDR.
I mean, FDR did help a lot of people, but he also made food very hard to get by paying farmers to not grow crops.
Only for a short period of time, which was necessary because of the Dust Bowl.
That's fair. Yeah, I really can't think of anything.
Hey, welcome to Kanar with Damar, where, just like with Star Trek, we get oddly political at times.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with that. FDR was arguably one of the only presidents that did not lose in over a 100-year period.
I'm not sure if I would call the Ferengi stylish, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if that replace that with good with money, like a Ferengi, yeah, yep.
Well, wait. There are a couple levels of Ferengi there. Because, you have Quark, you have Galen, and you have Rom.
That's fair.
So you got to be careful on which Ferengi level of fiscal responsibility you're looking at. Quark is a nice middle ground. If you want someone who's just going to be goddamn good and cutthroat, Galen. But I'm willing to bet more of them are going to be like Rom. And it seems like we have a lot of fiscally Rom mentalities currently in our own government.
Yep. 10 out of 10 agree.
Jared, just so you know, the last one in this is probably the whole reason for the last phrase. So the last sentence in the paragraph is the reason why the last line is there.
Works hard for 7 years on a ship stranded in Delta Quadrant as a model Starfleet officer. Builds astrometrics lab. Has been captured and tortured on multiple occasions. Multiple shuttlecraft accidents. Had his genetics manipulated by aliens. Died. Has been irradiated. Has been shot. Has been back in time and in other dimensions, sucked into space and killed, had possibly less sex than Geordi. Still an ensign.
It's all because he had less sex than Geordi.
No, because, well, here's the thing. Do you consider him as the true Harry Kim? Because he did come over with Naomi when the Voyager was wonderfully duplicated and split and destroying itself. One of the ships had to sacrifice itself so the other could survive.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
God damn it.
What'd you find this time?
Just damn.
Ooh.
If I ever go to a Star Trek con, I might have to use that. I'll probably be slapped in the face for it, but it would be so worth it.
Oh. Well,
That's a good one.
Well, hang on though. Let's think about this. The Prime Directive is predominantly for non-warp capable civilizations.
And civilizations that have no knowledge of warp travel.
So how many of those civilizations did Voyager actually run into?
Too many.
And Rex actually does bring up another wonderfully valid point about Voyager. Paris was... You forgot one part of this, though, Rex. Paris was reinstated, then promoted, demoted, and promoted again. And Harry was still an ensign. Yeah, because that's actually a little detail that a lot of people seem to forget over the run of Voyager. Paris was only there because he used to be in with the Maquis. He was on a prison colony at the beginning of the pilot episode.
He was a pretty shitty person.
He did get better, but not by much. But I will give the showrunners of Voyager this. The only romantic character that could handle Paris was B'Elanna. And it was because of the Klingon side of her.
That's fair.
Yeah, Tom
bringing it back to DS9.
Nice.
Keeping up with the Cardassians.
Nice.
I'm not going to lie, when I was much younger, I thought that the show was keeping up with the Cardassians, and I thought Kim Kardashian was a Cardassian. I was like 14 at the time.
How disappointed were you, though?
Very, very, very disappointed.
Anyone else think that Paris looked a lot like a young Andrew McCarthy? No, but I would say he did look an awful lot like Nicholas Locarno. I had to. Because there is actually a wonderfully asshole move on why the character ended up being named Paris instead of Locarno. And it was all because they did not want to pay the royalties to the writer on the TNG side that actually created the character of Locarno.
Yeah, but he also looks like a Kevin Corrigan to me as well. Oh wait, that's for a whole other episode later.
It's a different franchise.
Oh Jesus!
What'd you find this time?
There's a Brooklyn something show.
Oh. Hang on. Let's see. That one fits. Not sure about the next two. The next three, yeah.
Yep.
That I'll allow it. That could be an interesting one.
9-9. I love that show too much.
I've actually only seen a handful of episodes, but the couple of episodes I've seen, it has been funny. There's too much other stuff that has captured my attention.
I have to wait to see what the chat says.
Yeah, this will be the earworm that we leave them with tonight because, yes, once you read it, you're going to hear it. Kind of like what I did on Cheshire stream last night.
Was that last night or this morning?
Yes. It started last night. Apparently it didn't end until early afternoon today.
Yeah, but it was divided into 2 streams at least.
Now, is that because of what she was using to stream into YouTube?
I think so.
Yeah, because I know if I wanted, I could keep this one going live, and we could go indefinitely. But I won't do that because I don't like eating on stream. All right, we're gonna have to zoom in on that one.
What a wonderful worm.
Oh, that is actually another thing that I did enjoy with DS9 is not only did we get more into the understanding of the Ferengi, but also the Trill.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, the Trill ended up looking different in DS9 going forward, but the basic symbiotic relationship was held throughout and actually made a lot of sense.
When I first started reading the book, I thought the Trill were lizard people. Not gonna lie.
See, I hadn't read many of the books, so
The books were okay. It's one of the few cases where I find that the visual media, the shows and whatnot, are much better than anything else really in Deep Space Nine, in terms of the other media that they released.
Oh, you bastard.
I'm smiling because in the short time we've been talking, I've already identified 53 different ways to kill you with just a self-stealing stem bolt.
I do believe the word you were looking there for there
Self-sealing.
was stealing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
He haven't had enough Sams.
Actually, I think I'm going to be going with screwdrivers tonight because it's that kind of night.
I'm going to go with Screwball, but that's just straight whiskey, so.
But we are going to have fun here in, I don't know, call it 45 minutes? Give a good amount of time for people to recharge, reset, refresh, and get ready for the real fun that's going to be tonight. Which, by the way, I know Steve is going to be starting, well, he's supposed to be starting his rum and coke here in the next 15 minutes, but keep an eye on this channel. I think you guys are going to like the beginning of the stream this for VTW this week. I got a couple surprises in store for you.
I'll be a little late to that one.
I'll be here because I have something that I want to talk about that happened to me yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm going to miss all the fun.
Not necessarily, because you'll probably end up hearing about it. And plus, Jay, you've actually already seen what one of the surprises is.
I know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm thinking it's going to be...
I was thinking more of Nikki's surprise or her revelation that she wanted to share.
Oh, well, yeah, Nikki has something that she wants to share too, so... Oh, boy, is this going to be a fun night. Let's see how many of these actually are about similar happenings. But until then, go ahead, enjoy. If you want to keep abreast and get notified of everything that's coming up as it gets posted, don't forget to hit that subscribe.
To be a special subscriber.
But you got to hit the subscribe button first. Then you can play with the bell a little bit.
You hit the subscribe button, then the real subscribe button.
Yes. And till then, we will see you all in a short while. Good
I'm
night.
coming.
Wow.